Awesome job. We're done with our contact form as far as setting up the UI. And technically, we can start setting up the functionality to fetch the product. But in this optional video, so essentially, if you don't want to, you can just skip and move on. You're not going to miss anything. But if you would want to see how we can actually collect the values, for example, we could collect the emails. I'll show you what kind of service I would suggest. Again, I'm not profiting anything from them. I'm not sponsored by them or nothing like that. It is just much easier to use some kind of third service, especially if it is free. At least there's some kind of free tier. Because technically, yes, you could set up everything yourself. Just keep in mind two things. First, you'll have to have some kind of server, even if it's just a serverless function by the Netlify. And the second thing is the fact that you'll have to deal with a lot of spam. I can just tell you that from the personal experience. So, from my perspective, I much rather deal with some company that just does all the hard work for me. So, for example, if you navigate to John Smilga, and if you're looking at the coupon subscription, this is handled by the MailChimp. So I don't have to do anything. I just needed to set up my form in a specific way. So, of course, MailChimp can handle that. And I was in good shape. Again, if you want to do it yourself, you can definitely do so. But that's not something that I would suggest doing. Again, that is just my preference. Of course, you can do it however you'd like, but I'm going to show you a different provider, and the name of it is going to be Formspree. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. I just find their setup probably the easiest to get started. So we just type here form service over here, and then once we navigate, we just need to look for Formspree. That's the link that we're looking for. So I'll open up this new link. I'll sign up for a new account, even though I should have the account since I have shown this in my HTML course as well. So in here, let me just go with not sign in. I'm going to go with get started. And I'm going to go with one of my dummy emails. I think it was learn code tutorial at, and then it was gmail.com. As far as the password, not going to be something really secret. And I'm just going to register. Hopefully, I haven't used this email before. And it doesn't look like I have. Or, no, my apologies. Actually, I have used it quite a few times. So, in this case, I guess we're going to go with new form. And then emails. We would be sending emails to learncodetutorial@gmail.com. And I'm just going to call this React Store and then form. So we'll create a form, and essentially we'll just have to get these values that we need to add to our form. So notice here we have form, and then when it comes to action, we have the URL, and we need to add the method of post. And then, of course, once I'm submitting, then of course I would want to get those values, correct? So that's why when we were setting up this input, we would need to set up the name over here. So let's do it. We're going to go with action. So create the account. If you don't have it, create a new form like so. And then just navigate back to your project. And where you have the form, copy and paste. So right now you have the action and you have the post. And then I also would want to have a name. So that is a very, very important. So where I have the email, I'm going to go with reply to. Now, what's really cool is that you can actually test it out. And by the way, I'm sorry, this name should be here where I have the input. And you can have it whatever you'd want, but in my case, I'll just leave this underscore and then reply to. And what I was saying before is the fact that you can test it out in your local environment as well. So if I'm going to go with testing at testing.com, you'll see that I'll be able to submit the form. And notice how we submitted the form successfully. And now, of course, we can go back. And if you navigate to your mail, notice here I have new submission. Beautiful. And then it tells me that, of course, the mail is testing@testing.com. And as a side note, yes, there's more setups that you can have, meaning there's more ways how you can submit the data, whether that is name, email, or whatever. But we will just stick with the basic one. Okay. So we'll just go with our setup the way it is. And if you're interested in researching this in greater detail, of course, please do so. Like I said, they have generous free tier. Of course, there's paid options as well. But as far as setting up the form submissions and maybe collecting some kind of values, I definitely would suggest using some kind of service because, in my personal experience, it just made way more sense in the long run. Can you set up the form submissions yourself? Yes, but it is definitely way more work. And can you use different companies? Of course. If you find a better company that suits your needs better, of course, definitely do so. In my opinion, when starting out, Formspree is a pretty nifty option.